This is the Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition. We're here on Xbox Series S. Be sure to like the video, subscribing is great as well. So this is a new release for the game. So this is a separate standalone sort of thing, but it is a complete edition of the experience that has had some improvements, some actually really well done improvements, and we're going to be diving into those. And for the Series S, we're actually getting sort of a proper, I guess you would say, current gen offering in regards to an upgrade for the particular platform. So first off, you're probably wondering what we're getting here on the Series S. Well, we have two different modes and an FOV that you can adjust. So we've got performance mode and we've got cinematic mode. So switching to cinematic mode here, this is probably going to be like your 1440p at like 30 FPS. And then, you know, kind of, I think the way to go is really the performance mode, in my opinion. But, yeah, so that's kind of how that mode is. And then you go back to performance. It's looking like we're getting 1080p at 60 FPS, but you will notice that there are performance issues and stuff within the game. In the open world areas, when you are in spaces such as like cities or like more intimate spots like on the ship, you're going to notice the performance is a lot smoother, but it does seem to sort of, you know, chug a bit in the open world landscapes. They've also improved things such as volumetric lighting, improved special effects, improved particle effects. They've reworked a lot of the assets, and they've also done some great work on the character model improvements. You can even see that through on the Series S. Personally, like on the Series X, it feels like a really, really big upgrade, but I think even on the Series S, the character model reworks are quite noticeable in regards to like the texturing, the quality of the look of the characters and everything like that. I think the assets in general have been improved a lot across the entire experience for the Outer Worlds. There is also AI reworking, and that basically, to me, was basically some of the areas felt a little bit more difficult. Some of the sections, I was like, you know, I was still doing, like, I do a character build where I am more of like a sweet-talking, charismatic individual. But I did notice that, like, on Monarch, I was having some more troubles killing guys than normal. And I thought that was a bit interesting, because usually I just sweep through there and it doesn't even matter in the slightest. But that was something I noticed, that there definitely was a little bit more of a difficulty. So the AI has been reworked a little bit in how they move and how they attack and engage with you. Peril on Gorgon and Murder on Eridanos, which are the two expansion DLCs for the game, are included as part of this package. So they expand the story and the lore a little bit further, which is nice. There's also a level 99 level cap, so you can create a god tier ultimate character with literally all the skills and abilities you could ever want within the game, which is, you know, a nice option if you're into that. So those are kind of the improvements for, you know, this particular, I guess you would say, release of the game. A bit of like a remastering of sorts, honestly, in regards to the changes. Now, this is a game I actually really do quite love. I thoroughly enjoyed playing the, you know, the Outer Worlds when it first released. It was something that I, you know, got a lot of fun out of. I really enjoyed. I call it Fallout in space, because that's kind of what it's like. It's very dystopian-esque too, in regards to, like, you know, kind of the narrative and the what's at play here. So I will mention a little bit more on the Series S visually, though. Like, you know, I think the art aesthetic is really quite fully captured here, which is nice. Obviously, the lower resolution, I think, kind of makes it feel a little bit kind of like last gen in terms of, you know, sort of the sharpness and that. I don't know how to describe it. Like, all the reworking is here, which is great. You know, it makes it look a lot better, which is awesome. But it's still like, when I play the Series X version, the art direction and the art design, because this game has a very specific sort of like aesthetic that I think some people, you know, either really, really love, or some people are kind of like, eh. I think it looks quite pretty, and I think with like the sort of lower resolution, that like pop that I got on the Series X upgrade for this game, it isn't quite as present when playing it on the Series S. But I still think that this is, to me, a big upgrade over what we had on the Series S prior. And I think if you played this on the Series S prior, you're in for a treat in regards to an upgrade. But if you've never played this game, this is actually like the perfect time to dive in and give it a whirl. Am I over encumbered right now, or am I on some kind of weird drugs? Sorry, there's like a weird kind of effect going on. I am over encumbered by quite a bit. I'm going to break down some of these things so that I am able to actually move a bit within the world, because I don't want to, you know, not be able to run about. Sorry, just one sec. We got to break some of this stuff down. We're getting there. We're getting there. Let's get rid of this. We're still over encumbered. Why am I so over encumbered? Let's get rid of that. There we go. Now I can move around and sprint. That's great. Probably because I'm picking up some ammo and stuff like that. But yeah, it's, to me, a really, really cool game. I quite liked it. The whole Fallout in space thing, to me, is quite fun and enjoyable. It's something that's also a little bit smaller in scale that I quite appreciated. Like, it doesn't necessarily take forever to play. You can actually play through it and play through it multiple times, which I quite appreciated. That being said, if you are, you know, you kind of get what you want out of this game based on how much you go and do, like, you know, kind of side quests, or interact with different characters, or explore, or find things. What? What are you doing here? Are you supposed to be on that other planet?
You crossed them all off, like some... What?
Huh.
You mean add...
Or am I thinking of a different... I might be thinking of a different character she kind of looks like. Anyways, so yeah, this is a game where you are role-playing. You're creating a character, you are making choices, you are really deciding who you want to be within this world. And you can be like a great person, you can be a terrible person, and you're stuck with this situation where you are basically like, the general gist of the story and the narrative is that, like, the colonists that were coming here, a lot of them are still just kind of stuck up and frozen. You're defrosted, and you've got to either be the hero, or, you know, maybe not, or just not care about anyone else. Really up to you and how you want to decide to go about things, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, the corporations basically run everything. There's all these different factions that have been created, and they're all messed up, and you know, there's a few different planets you can visit, a few different areas that you can explore. The overall arcing narrative is something that you can kind of choose to go at, or sort of like, what was that? Or kind of ignore to a degree. It's really, really quite interesting. I thoroughly love this game. I think it's just really, really well done, filled with quirky surprises. And it's also funny. That's a big part of the game. There's like a... It's not serious in the slightest. Like, it's a very laid-back, sort of messed up thing. I mean, it could be difficult. You know, it depends on the type of, like, character you create and the sort of narrative you go for. But you can basically interact with it how you want. And I think that's really, really cool, because you can go in and, you know, they even make, like, meta jokes about, like, video games and stuff in this one, too, that I think are entertaining. Not, like, in your face, but basically being, like, you know, there's a certain point where it's like, oh, what are you going to do? Make me go press 3 buttons? And the guy's like, no, why would I ever have you do such a thing? That's just silly. And, you know, they have fun with it like that, which I think is really, really cool. And it's sort of, again, a very neat, quirky, funny sort of game that has a lot of, like, really entertaining points to it. Like, I just really do find this one to be quite engaging and quite interesting and different. And then branching for the narrative and how things kind of go and who you interact with and your choices will greatly impact those around you. Sorry, I'm just kind of fast traveling so that, like, I'm near hostiles? What hostiles? Oh, those things. Yeah, I'm trying to fast travel so that it's daytime here. Because, I mean, I could run around at night, but yeah, it's kind of dark and stuff like that. And I did my Series X review, and I was like, you know, running around in the night. And I'm like, is this the best way to show this game off? I mean, it looks cool, I think, at night. It definitely does. You know, the day and night cycles are kind of a nice touch, but I don't know if you... what hostiles am I near? Do you guys see any hostiles? Prevent any hostiles? Anyways, so the game has a wealth of differing choices in not only your narrative and how you talk to people, but also in how you create and build your characters, so your aptitude, your attributes. You kind of pick this when you start the game. Then you go to skills, and once you get to level 50 in any particular skills, you can go a little bit more in depth. So I work on persuasion and everything like that. As you can tell, I got a very high persuasion adjusted value. So I can sweet talk my way through stuff, but you can do like leadership things, medical stuff, you're attacking, and and then there's a perk system. So the perks give you fun little things, like little bonuses and benefits for doing, certain choices or having a companion or not having companions, and you have different upgrades across the tiers. The reputation system, you also have to manage your like assistant characters, give them armor, give them weapons. You have a range of different weapons and tools and different types of ammo you use within them. You get different consumables, and there's just like in this weapon modifications. There's just like a wide range of differing ways that you kind of interact with this game. And it's really interesting doing that sort of thing in this one, because you really do kind of build your own character. You come together, merge as a team. There we go, I saved it. But you're kind of going about making choices, interacting with the world how you want to, and your decisions will shape the future of the colony. And it's such a neat sort of like sci-fi kind of game. It's still dark out. This is killing me. It's a neat kind of sci-fi game because you get to visit these fantastical worlds, and then you can also see like these very kind of like dystopian type areas too, if that makes sense, or like very grandiose type centers and city places and these nice estates, and there really are a wide range of differing locations for you to visit across this particular, this is more of like a solar system or sort of area. I'm trying to say cosmos, but really we're just kind of out of luck on kind of getting like sun. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It's a cool looking planet because it's like really orangey, and it's got like a really fun vibe to it in terms of like the aesthetics and stuff like that. That's kind of what I was trying to get across, is that it's like very aesthetically pleasing is sort of the idea there I was trying to present. But yeah, it's something you can have a lot of fun with, if you're coming in here for the first time. I think you're going to really enjoy this game, especially if you like, Fallout type games. I think this one actually really kind of leans on that and does its sort of own thing with it as well. And, it's full of life and full of design and style and, these gorgeous environments and backdrops, and it's really just kind of neat, and the differing factions and all their beliefs. It's just more of like a self-contained, more intimate take on that sort of game, and I think it works. You almost fell off the cliff there, Parvati. I think it works quite well here. I think it offers a lot for you to see, a lot for you to do, but it doesn't necessarily take forever, so, I actually replayed this one multiple times, and I felt great doing that. But then, like some people, like I had said earlier, you'll take longer playing it. You'll, engage with it in more in-depth ways, doing different choices and seeing differing things. And that's, really up to you what you want to kind of get out of this one, what you want to see within the world. But I think it is kind of a really well-done experience. I think there's a lot you can love about this game, a lot you can enjoy about it. Because you get these beautiful vistas like this. And like I had said, it's very hyper kind of stylized in terms of like the kind of like aesthetics and the styling of it, and the combat, and the quirkiness of the characters, and the quirkiness of the world. Because they really do take that whole corporations running everything kind of concept, and they just like amp it up a little bit more. It's not like comical. Well, it is to me. It was pretty funny, this game, but it's not comical in the sense that it's like not, it's being serious in terms of like what you do and what you decide, but it's also just kind of like pretty easygoing, pretty relaxing at times, which is why it kind of like almost bothered me a bit more that the Monarch area was a bit difficult this time. I figured it out. I definitely figured it out, but it was definitely a little bit more like, really? I'm sorry, this planet is really quite gorgeous. It's just not changing the time of day, which is driving me nuts. Maybe if we go in and we go out, whatever. We'll show off another planet. I've got another one on the tour, which is, kind of a... Well, it's not really I guess it's more of like a moon place, but... Oh no, I think... Was I going to Gorgon or was I going to Cilia? Nah, we could show it off, why not? I'm trying to like pick certain spots that are like not going to like spoil things for you, if that makes sense. And there's a range of companions too. The whole companion system's kind of neat, and you know, you get to visit differing places and stuff like that. It is, you know, Series S wise, it's pretty like jagged, and I don't know how much that comes across. Like all those kind of lines there, very very jaggedy and stuff like that. But it's still, you know, pretty cool. And that's where I was saying that aesthetic doesn't really perfectly get sort of across, if that makes sense, on the Series S, because it's just like the fidelity isn't there to really make the art style perfectly smooth. But I mean, if you've been enjoying this game in the past and you want to, you know, play it like sort of with a nice upgrade and stuff like that that actually feels current gen, this is, you know, this is a nice big improvement to the Series S version that I think kind of got a little bit tossed aside in regards to like optimizations and stuff like that. So, you know, it is nice that this is present for this particular game, that we got this new Spacer's Choice Edition. And for me it was great because it's a perfect excuse to sit back here and play this game again, because I do quite like it. Yeah, that's right, I thoroughly enjoy playing this game. It's really, really cool. It's, you know, kind of little story you can get, like, lost in, and you can enjoy, and you can shoot stuff, and you can make choices and do quirky, weird things, and mess people up, and, you know, I always like talking about the, sort of, like, one of the first big decisions you make, where it's like, you know, do you kind of keep the salt tuna thing going, or are you going to, like, you know, kind of get, like, an alternate food source going in, but that alternate food source isn't, like, necessarily the super good for you food source that you want it to be, and yeah, there's all this stuff to it. There's all these quirky moments, and there's elements of stealth, and there's elements of like conflict, or you can avoid conflict if you make certain choices, or you can upgrade stuff and become more powerful, and like there is a lot to, you know, the Outer Worlds. There's a lot to this game. There's a lot to this franchise. It's just a really, you know, it's an enjoyable series. It's something that I'm really looking forward to seeing how they kind of grow it with the future elements and stuff like that, the future additions. Oh no, I wanted the loot. I don't want to go down there to get it. And it's just so ridiculously wacky at times. The things that go on, the stuff that happens, the satirical elements of like the corporation individuals that you have to deal with, and yeah, it's a really, really good time. I quite love this one. I like the weird narrative bits. I love the strange creatures. I like the sci-fi style that they have going on. It's got a... Right on, Parvad. You slammed that head right off that thing. Like, it's strangely, kind of, like, intensely gory and stuff, too, at times, and it doesn't hold back, and it feels like it's presenting something that is, like, you know, expansive, but also, like, kind of intimate, and it's gonna be so neat to see, you know, how the scope of this increases when we get to see the Outer Worlds 2 down the road. Because, you know, obviously the foundation here with this level of improvement has been really nice. And it just kind of, I don't know, I'm really curious to see where they take, you know, the scope of the game going forward, because this could become a really cool, you know, side franchise to your Fallout games and stuff like that. This being like something that is, as I go back to, Fallout in space. But no, it's more than that. It has its own identity. But what I'm trying to say is just, like, it can become one of those sort of role-playing RPG games that you love to go back and play and see, explore, and expand upon. Because it's just a messed up section of space where the corporations have been kind of managing things, and, you know, they're doing the best they can considering how really messed up everything really is in this situation. And you're just kind of deciding the type of individual you want to be within this world. Are you someone that is here to help the colony? Are you someone here that's, you know, kind of doesn't care? Are you here to burn it all down? Do you care about any of the characters? Do you not care about any of the characters? You make the choices you want, you go out there, you shoot things, and at the end of the day, it's your narrative that you're crafting through your role-playing choices.